Communication is the foundation of human civilization. We think of language as a collection of words, grammar, and syntax spoken through the vocal cords. But in a few remote corners of our planet, from the rugged mountains of northern Turkey to the misty cliffs of the Canary Islands, humans have developed a way to talk that sounds more like a bird than a person. This is the world of whistled languages, a rare and beautiful survival skill that defies our modern understanding of how we speak. Imagine you are standing on one side of a deep, rocky canyon. Your friend is on the opposite peak, nearly 2 miles away. If you shouted at the top of your lungs, your voice would be swallowed by the wind long before it reached them. But if you whistled? A whistle is a pure, high-frequency sound. It travels much further than the human voice and cuts through background noise like rushing water or howling wind. This is exactly why communities in steep, mountainous regions developed these languages. In the village of Cuscoy in Turkey, literally translated as bird village, and on the island of La Gomera in Spain, whistling wasn't just a signal, it was a complex vocabulary. In La Gomera, the language is known as Silbo Gomero. It is not a separate language with its own grammar, but rather a whistled version of Spanish. The whistlers, known as silbadores, use their fingers and hands to manipulate the pitch of their breath, mimicking the vowels and consonants of their spoken tongue. They can communicate anything, from a simple "how are you" to a complex legal agreement or a warning about an approaching storm. Similarly, in the Black Sea region of Turkey, the bird language, Kuş dili, has been used for over 400 years. Farmers use it to invite neighbors for tea or to ask for help in the fields. To the untrained ear, it sounds like melodic chirping, but to the locals, every trill and peak in the sound is a specific word. What makes whistled languages so fascinating to scientists in Europe and the US is how the brain processes them. Usually, the left hemisphere of the brain is responsible for language, while the right hemisphere handles music and melody. However, when neuroscientists studied the whistlers of Turkey and the Canary Islands, they found something remarkable. Their brains used both hemispheres equally to decode the whistles. Because the language is both a melody and a message, the brain has to work twice as hard, making whistled language speakers some of the most unique linguistic experts on Earth. For centuries, these languages were essential for survival. But today, they face a modern enemy, the smartphone. Why learn the difficult art of whistling when you can simply send a text message? As young people move to cities and digital infrastructure reaches even the most remote villages, the ancient echoes of the mountains are beginning to fade. In response, UNESCO has stepped in to protect these intangible cultural heritages. In La Gomera, whistling is now a mandatory subject in schools. In Turkey, annual festivals are held to keep the bird language alive. These communities realize that if the whistling stops, a unique piece of human history, a bridge between man and nature, will be lost forever. Whistled languages remind us that human innovation didn't start with microchips and satellites. Thousands of years ago, our ancestors looked at the impossible terrain around them and found a way to conquer it using nothing but their own breath. It is a humbling lesson in resilience. Long before we had a wireless communication, the people of the mountains were already talking through the air, sending their thoughts on the wind. As we move further into a digital future, perhaps we should listen a little closer to these ancient birds. They might have a lot to tell us about what it truly means to be heard. If you're captivated by the incredible ways humans adapt to their world, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We explore the hidden traditions, lost languages, and scientific mysteries of our planet. Join our community of curious minds, subscribe now and click the bell icon. Tell us in the comments, do you have a secret way of communicating in your culture?